Good morning. Welcome to For Real Coffee Time and YouTube Time with Madison Christine. How are you all doing today? I woke up with so much energy. I was like, this is a good time to just be in the Pure channel and do a YouTube. And the topic is on self-value. Self-value. That word was just speaking to me, that energy, I should say, to me yesterday. We hear self-love, we hear self-esteem, self-care, all those things are wonderful things. And self-value, for me, sinks really deep into the soil, into the soul. What matters? What matters the most to you? What do you value in your life? I think it's a really profound and important question to ask if one is wanting to evolve and to experience love and true heart connection and whatever it is in your career, in your family, in life, right? So self-value, very rich concept that, of course, as you know, when I speak not just of concepts, I speak of how do we embody these things. Otherwise, what's the point, right? That's at least how I view it. So, what in your life do you value? I think the best way to walk into self value. What do you value? Now, there's, of course, the list that probably most of us have done, or we've rolled it around in our head. What do I value? I could name off trust, loyalty in a relationship, fun, play, creativity, rest, health. So imagine those are all on the list. So the question is, how are those values or are they playing out in your life? So first of all, welcome to being human, all of us, right? We've all written things on lists that may not have shown up in life yet. So this is all of a process, definitely a process. And for instance, I value deeply, which is obvious, is the inner world, my inner world, and how I relate to that inner world and how it plays out in my life. I'm very extremely passionate about that. So how did that play out, or how has that played out in my life? I, as young as 18, 19, 20s and throughout, put my value, my money, my time into really deep therapy work. I spent hours writing music to connect to my soul, to connect to the truth within, valued relationships that had meaning to them, and creativity and coffee. I mean, coffee, come on, like that's my other lover. And I'm totally proud of that. So, and writing and all that. So, an example, the reason I'm sharing that is what in your life have you valued and put time into? And another way to look at it is when you wake up in your day, what does your day look like? How do your values play out? Where does your money go? What do you put your money into? These are all ways we can witness what we value. And by the way, if you're going, oh shit, I'm telling myself that I value rich, connected relationship, but what I'm discovering is that it's all fragmented and I'm confused and I'm not really happy. Or maybe you're like, I really value having a flourishing career, yet this career is all over the place and it's not flourishing. So, first of all, when you're able just to look at that, self value means being able to step back and look at the things that are not working. It's like a huge creative art project, you guys. We are art, humanity is. And we get to decide what paintbrushes we use, what colors we use, how we learn from the mistakes we make, if we even want to call them mistakes. It's all part of our process, right? It's the mind can very much get in the way. And when you get a message of, oh, you're wrong, you're wrong, and you have a value of creating something powerful, how are you going to really get to that creating something powerful if you keep judging yourself and you stay in that loop, right? You're going to make mistakes, if we want to use that. You're going to fall down and get back up. That's how we become great in whatever aspect we value. What do you value? I value evolution. I value constantly, consistently being aware and heightening my awareness so I can get in touch with what I don't like versus what I do like. I had to get in touch with a lot of the lies that I thought were truth about me. And when I did that, I got free from so much more anxiety, free of depression, right? So it's up to us. You truly are, you guys, I'm going to sound like one of those motivational speakers, but you are the creator of your life. When you get onto that, it will never be the same. When we start really breaking those victimhood ties, where we don't feel good enough and we value that and we pay attention to that, then we can break these old patternings and programmings and come into greater and greater value. Where are you putting your time? What are you putting your money into? Is that connected to this so-called list of your values? If not, what an incredible opportunity to, in increments, start shifting that. Again, I like to use examples. For example, I say I've told you I value the inner world. That's definitely played out and created a very rich life and relational world for me. Doesn't mean there hasn't been a million different painful moments along the way. Holy crap, right? That's how we learn. I value health and vitality. Holy shit, 100% now. When I've shared this before, when I was working in agencies, I could have had that on my list, but I wasn't living that out completely. I was feeling like I was being dragged. So I remember one day sitting in a counseling office and having kind of a shallow breath, and my soul at that moment was like, no more. I know I can do so much better for myself than this, as far as giving myself vitality and better rest and a schedule that fits my specific feminine rhythm, right? I'll not forget that moment, and I'm curious if you have those moments in your life where it was like that intention was set so strong. That contrast of not feeling that was such a gift. So wherever you are, this is never out to be like, oh, I suck by not living out my values. You're human. You get a chance every single other, this moment, next moment, second. Some of the shit that comes out, it just comes out. So that was a moment for me a couple years ago. And since then, everything's been shifting all of a sudden. And by the way, universe provides, you guys. I learned about this breathing technique, this not just technique, a way of life with Wim Hof and the cold immersions. And all of a sudden, I'm doing these things. And at first, of course, it brought up a lot of trauma, so it wasn't easy. But months later, I have vitality I've never had before. And, you know, I'm midlife going that direction, and I have more energy than I ever did in my 20s. I'm getting up freaking, I could go run mountains and stuff. It's just amazing. So when we set that intention, shit happens when we set it and we harmonize with it, right? So what is that for you? What do you value? Another really cool example I want to give, because I feel like it's important, is being that I am a therapist and I work with teenagers, kids. Here's something that's been so profound and powerful, that in therapeutic work with teens and also with offering parents assistance around working with their kids. Imagine you have a teen, and it doesn't have to be a teen, it could be a younger child, anyone you're connected to, that, let's say the person is just constantly on their phone with their door closed and the parent's concerned. They're kind of freaking out about that. Because remember, they're going through their own stuff of, oh my God, am I good enough? Am I doing this right? Or you have your split families and there's that tension, and maybe the kids just got a lot of hate going on. Maybe they hate you or they hate the other parent. Or their self-harm. You know, all these things are terrifying for a parent and a therapist. When you care, and it hurts, right? And one of the things I teach, and this is what I've learned through being a therapist and someone who just cares about people in my life, one of the first things I talk about is the importance of bringing value to your child. And this also applies to yourself. Value to their feelings, right? The worst thing we can do, any of us in a helping place or connected or place, is to panic. Let's say they're talking about self-harm, a very painful and common, unfortunate place, is instead of flipping out, learning how to listen and listen deeply. Get to know their world, even if it hurts. Whatever goes on in that ego mind, you gotta just allow that recognition. But in front of that child, I want to hear more. Can you tell me more about what's going on with this feeling you're having or this hate you feel? Get to know that child, that teen, that adult, whoever you're connected to. Because when we flip out and we try to fix and we see it as a problem, what happens? It's human. The child's going to start shutting down because they don't want their parent to worry about them. And then they're going to shut down and not going to want to share, and that can get more dangerous, right? And isolated. So, and trust me, I've learned the hard way, even as a therapist, because I care so much. I've learned to really remain in that calm place and just, can you tell me more about this hate that's coming up? What is this voice saying? Because what you're doing is adding value. When they're really anxious, tell me more about this anxiety. Because if you just go to them and say, you just got to breathe and you just got to go talk to your therapist, and those things are all wonderful things, but there's a timing, right? So that's another, I know that's another segue into value, but I believe it is extremely pertinent to how we treat ourselves. So taking a deep breath, what do you value and how is that playing out in your life? You are so worth every moment and everything that matters to you. I value simplicity so much that my schedule is simple in order to heart connect with my clients. They value them beyond. And every connection matters to me. That means when I give myself time and quiet and coffee and rest and exercise, all of that feeds into the value that I have to offer. I value every feeling, whether dark as it can get to light. I value that. And when our bodies get that trust from us, just like if you have kids or partnerships, that's how we blossom. It's so ironic, right? That's how we blossom. So what do you value? I value you and us connecting right now so much. So I'm going to end with that. Thank you so much for listening. Cheers, you guys. I'll meet you all on the flip.